First off, I want to kind of, I mean, you guys have all kind of been around, you kind of understand. We kind of have like a gate and a greeters, area. And we try to keep them separate as much as we can. Sometimes, depending on staff, sometimes they're doing double duties, but we like to try to keep them separate. When you guys are doing your job, the way we have it set up, you guys have all seen the sign-up sheet. We got like 1, 2, 3, and then the greeters 1, 2, 3, or whatever. And we're trying to get it to where each one of those positions does a certain thing. That way, you can run smoothly and as efficiently as possible. Hopefully, that's the idea. So that's how we kind of have it set up. Now, as far as the gate side, that's all the kind of the serious, boring stuff. You got to check them in. Make sure that they're not stowing anybody away, and all that kind of legal stuff, and get them all checked in, and IDs and all that. That's the gate side, and then of course the greeter side. That's definitely of course the more fun one. Make them hug, ring the bell, roll them in the dirt, whatever. Give them their stickers. But really the big part of being a greeter, and we've been trying to get better with this, and this year we're really trying to push it more. Is your job is to educate, or sometimes re-educate those that are coming into the event of what our principles are, what we stand for, pack it in, pack it out, leave no trace, that type of stuff. We really need to stress that more this year. So if you are on the greeter side, just be aware of, and try to press the people and, see what they know. Make sure that they understand that, hey, don't be a jerk. It's a lot of common sense stuff, but, let's, need to remind them of it. So that, that's really the big main focus of the greeters, is to be the educate part. And a lot of people that go there know this stuff, they've been around for a long time. Still, it's a good idea to, hey, remind them all this stuff, don't put crap in the porta potty, or, put other stuff in the porta potty, other crap. Things like that.
Inappropriate crap.
Could there be like a little cheat sheet?
Yeah.
Well, that comes to my next point. You were making that. She's going to be making a banner.
Well, Jenna's designing a banner.
Jenna's designing.
That's going to have the 10 principles.
Thank
you.
Last year we had a L&T like laminate thing that somebody made.
Yeah,
for the greeters.
Check mark, yeah.
And then we'll have a kind of for each of the roles, each of the jobs. Here's what you need to talk about. So if you're the only greeter at the gate, you'll be able to have your cheat sheet to cover everything. Yeah. And actually, everybody should be able to cover all the spots. But we'll get into that as we get into the details.
Yeah, as far as we still have those, right? Those laminated things, I believe, somewhere.
I can laminate anything.
Okay, well, yeah,
I have one too, so that's good.
But we have a couple, we had a couple checklists that kind of like, stuff that the gate does, sign them in, check for dogs, all this, and then greeters, educate, just to kind of give you a little help. But then of course she's going to have, we're going to have the 10 principle banner thing there. So, try to, again, if it's, if it's slow, certainly if it's first time people, definitely make sure that they're educated. If you got some burdens that have never been to an event, those are the ones you really need to spend the time with. Okay. If we do get backed up, we'll figure out a way to, but I don't want to let people slip through this time because, last time there were some other people from other events that came to visit ours. And that was one of the things where we're going to drop the ball. So why are we there? Why are we sitting at this gate just checking people in? Probably wouldn't be that tough. We just have people come in and check in. But again, it's our job. We're the first interaction with essentially our customers. We are the first customer service that they get. We're there as our first interaction. So we're kind of their first entrance into the event. So make it fun and make it interesting and be a part of it. We're also there to protect people. Or protect those that have paid to come in the event. Be able to do what they want to do and get crazy and wild, not have to worry about it. We want to protect them from anybody else that might, want to come to the event that didn't pay for it or didn't, we're also there if something goes wrong, heaven forbid, some sort of lost child situation or something like that. We have to lock down gate. We have to make sure nobody goes in or out. So we're also there for protection as well. And then, really the only thing I just want to end with what I have to say is back to the whole really want to make sure we educate them this year and really get back into that. So again, thank you all for helping and volunteering and doing your part. And pass it off.
Hi, Pam, Cutie Pie. Find a place for my beverage.
Whatever you want.
Well, she's got the camera all set up, so we'll just rotate.
Such as it is.
Okay, I'm gonna pass around the schedule. This was printed up today. This is how it is so far. Check. We did get 2 people signed up for Friday night at midnight. Yay! Yay! But now, as it is, that's the schedule. We don't know until you get there whether we've got coverage for each shift. What we're going to do this time, when you come into Saguaro Man, stop at greeters, sign the list, say I'm here. So we know that you're here and we don't have to wonder come midnight if I'm gonna be stuck there till 4 or what have you. You're gonna check in with greeters. The big change for this year is that only neighbors who have a letter, an invitation, will be allowed in and their names will be on the list.
Yay.
There is none of this guessing game. They'll be on the list or they won't. If they have a problem, they can contact Arthur themselves, but it's going to only be immediate neighbors who have that letter. That got the letter, who got the invitation, who are going to get on and responded to it, that will be on the list.
Will they have a special bracelet again like last year?
No, they're just gonna be checking in just like everybody else. Their name's on there. I don't even know if it's gonna say neighbor on the list. Everybody has in and out privileges. We do not tell anybody that there's in and out privileges, but we don't want to let anybody think that this is a thing you can do. We're gonna always just on a case by case basis. When they come back in, they will have their bracelet. You will check them back in. You will see their ID. We can't have people, switching out bracelets and what have you. So it's, you're gonna check them in just like you would if they were just coming in for the first time.
So when people leave, we'll tell them like
Yes.
make sure you have your bracelet, make sure you have your ID. You're going to be
Yes.
checking back in when you come in.
Exactly.
So that
Make
they
sure
don't
they're
go
aware.
off without their bracelet or whatever.
Yes, absolutely. Make sure that they know those things. Last year when we had some people come back with their bracelets and no ID, I held 2 of the people hostage while the other 2 went back to the camps to get the IDs for all of them.
Yeah.
If you're gonna leave your friends here, until I get it. That one was a little monkey too. Holy cow! Flying all over everything. Anyway, we are asking that everyone show up for their shifts mostly sober. We had one man who showed up on time for all 3 shifts last year, too drunk to work. Now, when you're getting ready to go to your shift, and you think to yourself, yeah, I could probably nuke something in the microwave, but could I fix myself something on the stove to eat? If you could fix yourself something on the stove to eat, you're probably sober enough to work. I'm pretty
If you
sure.
can't come anyway and tell us you're not staying.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine too. If you just come and check in and say, and sometimes we'll say, oh, you want to just hang out for a while? We'll let you do that too. One of the gate shifts, one of the gate duties is to inspect the cars. And we don't inspect too heavily, but we do inspect. And that is, if you see somebody come in and they're packed to the gills with stuff and their passenger seat is empty, that just usually doesn't happen. You're gonna wanna check a little more. If you see a giant pile of blankets right there, feel free to, is it okay if I just, check your stuff real quick? If you get close enough, you'll feel the body heat. Maybe, if it's busy, we aren't really gonna do anything. We're gonna take a look. Most people are usually fine. The book is very important. It's important that nobody has access to the book except for the person doing gate. We don't want everybody coming up and saying, oh, is my friend here yet? Who's here? Scotto wants this book, off limits 2 people. So there's going to be one person, they sit at the table with that, unless, it's midnight, there's 2 of you on shift, then yeah. But you're gonna be at the table, you're gonna check the bracelets, you're gonna check the IDs, you're gonna check their name, cross it off, and we'll show you that when you get there, it's pretty easy. If there's any kind of a confusion, you can write a note. There'll be a place to write a note in the book that, okay, well, this guy's checked in already, and we have a note here so we can figure it out. Sometimes you're gonna come across somebody who's already checked in, and it's just somebody's crossed off the wrong line. So we'll see, if a second person comes in with that same name, like after the first person, so you've suddenly got 3 people, you're going to want to call somebody. You're going to want to call lead. Anytime you have an issue that you're not sure of, call lead. There's going to be a radio up there at all times. We're going to have leads on radio call all times, 24 hours a day. We're going to have a sheet up there with, I don't have it on this page, but it's going to have how you use the radio. You're going to say their name,
It's in the, you just.
I wrote it in here. Yeah,
It's just.
their name, I didn't finish, right? But there's gonna have a procedure on how to use the radio if you're not comfortable with it. And it'll be taped there. We've also got other instances where there you go. We've got other instances where you might have to use the radio. If you're not sure, call us. If you're not sure, call us. If we've fallen asleep, we're falling asleep right next to our radio. We'll hear you. I camp right there, you can just go wake me up. It's very simple. If law enforcement shows up, you're not gonna talk to them. You're going to say, okay, I'm gonna call somebody for you. You're gonna walk, you're gonna call, you're gonna say code zebra. And you don't chat with them, you don't let them in, I'm not authorized to talk with you.
When you say don't let them in,
You don't.
do you stop them?
Yes.
Throw yourself in
Don't
front of the
use
car.
big word. Don't
It's
let
a
'em
private
in.
event and they are
Private
not invited into our private event. I will call the event organizer, I will
Now-
call the event lead
Right. but
up
now
here
if
and
the
he
cop-
can deal with
But
this.
if the cop insists I'm going in,
I'm not gonna get shot over it, no.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, you
No.
tell him what you tell him. If he
You-
comes
yeah.
on in anyway, that's on him. If you've got a phone, I don't have a problem with you filming that either, but you
Yeah.
know.
Well, but it's the,
Oh,
hey,
seriously, if you
I can't
automatically
help you,
film.
let me call to get someone
right,
to talk to
chances
you.
of that,
Yes.
happening are slim to none. I think.
Is
you're looking
I've
at
never
dogs up
seen
there.
it yet. We have when you have a lost child, so whoever's at that table with the book, they're gonna be keeping an ear on the radio. If you hear anything about a lost child, the gate closes, even if we don't have a physical gate we're closing, everybody stops, the traffic stops, nobody goes in, nobody goes out. It just stops until we get people up there, until we get the all clear, but people will immediately be coming to gate to try and make sure everything's secure, so you won't be like stuck there going, you won't have to worry about trying to find any lost children in trunks or anything like that. You're just stopping everybody. If somebody leaves anyway, well, of course, write down their license plate number.
Can I say something about that? One of my hobbies is ham radio, and we do a lot of radio control for big public service events. So I want to point out the difference to you between a lost child and a found child, okay? If you have a child who comes to the gate and says, I can't find my mommy, what is that?
That's a found
That is a found child, okay?
Okay,
If somebody comes to the gate and says, I can't find my kid, or a ranger, or anybody, and says, I can't find my kid, that is a lost child, okay? And there's a big difference, because if you don't state exactly which one you're dealing with, everybody else on the network listening to the radio is gonna do the wrong thing,
Yeah, good point.
very good
See?
point.
okay? So keep that in mind. If you're using the radio, report exactly what you're dealing with. A lost child report, or you found a child, or somebody else found a child, but that's important.
Thank you.
And if somebody comes up and says, a parent looking for a child, do we keep the child at the gate? I mean, if we get a found child, we keep them at the gate, or do the rangers come?
Yeah, you'll just call and you'll just, everybody's staying right here, we're calling.
Yeah,
Right, and anybody who finds that child, you hang on to them and you get a ranger. You don't turn them over to the parents, because how do you know that's the parents? Let the rangers
Isn't there
figure
a
that
book
out.
that has kids listed with the
Yeah.
parents' names?
In the book,
Right.
yeah,
It's in the book.
Yeah.
Yes.
in the back of the
Yeah.
book.
Because their kids' names have to be in there.
But
as well.
we have the rangers anyway, because the rangers have a procedures they go through before they turn the child back over to the parents, and it's
Right.
basically, I think it's
Yeah.
they need to be talked to about why their child was lost and such, and that's that's a ranger duty. We are not
Right.
the people who handle that.
Right, at really big events, we take those kids to the cops. We don't have anything to do with turning those kids over. And so, we have rangers, that's better.
Okay, some important things to recall. If somebody's being aggressive, you're out. Don't worry about it. Just call a lead. You don't have to talk to them. You don't have to fight with them. You don't have to argue with them. I'm out. I'm calling someone else who can help you. I can't help you. Don't risk any kind of safety for that. If we get a child at the gate, anyone under 18, you call a ranger. I don't care if they're 17 and a half, you call a ranger. Okay? That's just what we do. Between 18 and 21, you don't have to call a ranger, but they do get a special bracelet. Everybody under 21 will get a special bracelet.
You're saying coming through the gate. Not just wandering around. They
Yeah,
happen to come to the
no.
gate, but like coming through the
As
gate.
they enter the event.
Right.
Oh, we did have it in there. Say their name, my name, and brief. Okay. Carrie, this is Cutie Pie. Can you come to the gate, please? You're gonna be like, gate lead. This is gate. Can you come to the gate? We won't get it, right?
Right.
Just say gate a bunch of times, and we'll hear you when you go. Gate.
Gate's a gate, come to the gate.
Yeah, you don't have to know the gate lead's name who's on. You don't have to say your own name. You can just say gate to gate lead. So.
Yeah, and we need a lead at the gate. But sometimes, with a button, you might just say it twice. Just say it twice, and then somebody will hear it. If you say it, then it won't cut out.
It's like, push the button, take a breath, speak, take a breath, release the button.
Dramatic pause.
Okay, one of the other big things that I see a lot of is when people come to check in, we want their car in park. They don't necessarily have to shut off the engine, that'd be preferable, but that car is your car in park. Okay, will you please go up and check in? You want to make sure, if you're going to walk in front of a vehicle for any reason, I put my hand out, I make eye contact. If there's someone in the driver's seat, I make sure they see me before I walk in front of their car at any time. I put my hand up, I nod, I look. I want to have that eye contact with them. But make sure that you ask them if they will put their car in park before they get out, because, they roll. And
We don't want anybody killed or run over or hurt.
Okay.
and we aren't going to have the shirts this year. That was a one-time thing, so that was very complicated, and that will not be happening this year. So we are very grateful.
All right, so we always say the party starts at greeters, and the party starts when you get there. Okay, but here's where it's a little less serious. We're trying to start the fun. So if you're comfortable, feel like greeting somebody with a hug and say welcome, that's a great start for making your initial contact. We have 3 spots. Someone who's going to talk about the maps, and hopefully we'll have a nice big map on hanging so that you can point, you're here, here's where you can camp, here's where you can't camp. And so that's part of the map people's job. And that indicate we're going to be putting up road signs, and I think we're getting road signs this year, so you can point out where the roads are. We'll already have on there where organized camps have had their assignments for where they're camping, and you can point those out to people as they come in. If they're with an organized camp, well, this is where you're camping, you can direct them to that. The education group is where we go through, we talk about whoever has that role, you go through the LNT. We'll have a handout, so you can talk about leave no trace, what that means. We also are doing LNT check-in, so if anybody has volunteered for leave no trace, we'll have a little notebook and they can just sign their name or check that they have arrived. We've offered to do that for that group to help kind of maybe elevate LNT's committee or group to a little more interest. And people may come back during the course of the time that we're there saying, oh, I got talked into signing up for LNT. You can go ahead and add their name to the list. There will be a shirt for LNT. Sorry about that. But we're not talking, we're probably talking a dozen, maybe a little more, but not very many. But they're strictly to those people. So that's part of education to handle that. Education will also go through the 10 principles. Jenna's designing a banner for us. It'll be hanging up. You're welcome. I'll see if I can find some pointers. And you can point and touch and talk as people, as you're educating them. We will have a handout on that, assuming I get it done. Okay, the other big piece of education, yes, no, the probably saying it, never mind. Okay, the next piece of education is trash in, trash out. As people are as they're coming in, you need to remind them that nothing can be left on the ground. They have to clean up if they have fire. They have to clean up after that. They have to clean their ashes. Cigarette butts, they all are to be put in some type of a container. I believe somebody is trying in the As You Burner group is trying to make like the tin mint containers that they may be handing out for cigarette smokers, so that doesn't get left out. And then you remind them that they have to take it out with them, that there is not a place at the gate for them to leave their trash. That's critical, because they've got to take their own stuff. In fact, if you were to stay and be a degreaser, you may have a bag or trash that you'll hand to them to take, as people are driving out, ask them if they can take a bag home with them.
Yes, please, anyone who has an extra 15, 20 minutes on when you're going to leave Sunday, stop and be a degreater, be a trash pimp. You'd be surprised, people will be like, sure, I can take that box of trash.
Particularly if you're kind of doing it all the time during the time you're there, that would be great. Also, you remind everyone to stay hydrated. Yes, there's a lot of alcohol drinking, but they've got to drink water. We have emergency medical people, but they're kind of on call. They're not sitting at the first aid station or at the ranger station waiting to take care of people that have issues. So remind everyone that they need to drink their water as well. Also, taking pictures. We want to educate people, remind them that they can't just go willy-nilly taking pictures of people. They need to ask. That's really important. You may take your picture, I like your costume or whatever, and you have to, and again, telling as the people come in to remind them of that. Now, we have some people who are very well trained and know what pictures to take and what not, and know how to ask. So if you can always tell someone there are photographers that will be there if there's pictures that, they'll be on the website after the event at some point. So, and then the final piece of greeters education part is dealing with swag and the dogs. And then Jen will talk about the dogs, but the swag. We've got bags that Jill and Pyro have made. There's 850 bags, and so each person gets a bag. There's probably that'll have stickers in there. There may be other stickers that we also will be giving out, and it's one per person. And if they lose it, I'm sorry, they can't come back and get another one. Some of you guys are wearing the necklaces from last year. Yeah, those are really cool. And so, also, that's the education piece. As you're pointing out to folks where they're camping, Nate will be out there. So as people come in, you can radio to Nate and say, we've got someone for such and such a camp, or we have people that aren't assigned to a camp. If they don't know where they're going, or if they're feeling lost, particularly newbie people. Also, we hand out the who, what, where, when booklet, and that you need to spend a little bit of time with your customer, pointing out what's in the book. Anyone who has scheduled an event will be in that book, so point it out. Also, the book will have the 10 principles. The book will have the map of the area, so get familiar with the book when you first come on your first shift, so that as you're talking to folks, you can point these things out. Because a lot of work goes into that, and like Jeff and I our first year, I went online and saw it online, so we figured out way in advance what was going on. There are people who may never look at it, but it's got so much info. You can't claim you didn't know something was going on because it's in the book. Also, if someone is coming in with they're bringing an art piece that didn't come in early, or they've got a flame effect, you need to radio Conchita, because she handles all of that, and I think that will happen at gate as well, correct, Pam?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that by the
Well,
time.
we might not catch them. We might not always catch them.
Right.
So between gate or greeters, and we can call them, and what we'll have them do is we'll have them pull ahead. We'll have them pull off to the side.
Right. So that they can get the extra attention they need.
Guy that showed up with like 9 rescue chihuahuas. It's not acceptable. And people, yeah, no, that happened. That actually happened, and just would walk off and leave them and stuff. So, but it's it's pretty simple stuff. Oh, the other thing too is with the tag, you put the tag on the dog themselves. Don't just hand them the tag. You do put it on, because otherwise you might hand it to them and they'll be like whatever, and that doesn't happen. You actually physically have them put it on while you're there. Before they leave, the dog needs to have the tag on it. So, and just make sure that the paper is filled out fully and they kind of understand it. But there's not much to it.
Do you ever have them show up without a collar? I know some people don't put collars
have
on.
a collar.
That's one of the rules. It's well, because of the
Yeah.
leash rule, they have to have a leash so they have to have.
Well, and that is Arizona state law.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can just run back to town and get a collar
Right,
for
yeah,
crying out loud.
yeah, so if someone,
Yeah.
it didn't happen last year at all, and we had tons of dogs, but if it does happen, then yeah, I'm sorry, the dog needs to have a collar.
And I'd be totally looking for some rope and making my dog a collar real
Yeah,
fast.
you need to come up with a collar, so, or something, and in some way to be leashed and make, press upon them that they need to have not only a collar, but they also have to have a leash. You're not gonna be expecting them for a leash or anything like that, but if they show up without a collar, then they might not have a leash either, so they need to be educated about that.
You're gonna put the disc on the collar, is that what you said?
Correct, well, you
Either
can
greeters
then-
will, or we watch them do it, depending on whatever the comfort level
Usually
is, how it
it's easier
works.
just for them to do it, so that you don't have to kill your fingernails trying to do
Right,
it, and they're probably gonna wanna handle their dog and not you, but the point is that you give it to them, you ask them to put it on while you're there, they don't leave till it's on the dog.
I guess you probably wouldn't wanna stack up the traffic, but if you could have them get
Well,
out, leash your dog.
Well, and that's another good point, if the person has the dog and they're gonna be spending a lot of time at greeters while they do that, we can have them pull off to the side. Anybody anybody who has a dog, anybody who has a child, anybody who has anything where it's gonna take longer than the normal, or if people are starting to stack up because it's a high traffic period, then there is gonna be room for us to have them pull off.
Almost everybody gets their dog out right away because the dog has to go to the bathroom. We're encouraging them all to walk them across the road so that gate does not smell like a urinal.